Seriously. Seriously? That's the way it goes down against Kansas City? Oh my goodness. I am upset. Oh, I can't stand the Chiefs. Boy, Denver Broncos have a chance to beat the unbeaten Kansas City Chiefs, and a blocked field goal cost them the game. Are you flipping serious? 16-14 the final score, and Kansas City gets the win. I am absolutely beside myself. I mean, Broncos played their hearts out. Broncos played really good football, and the defense stood out for sure and made plays when they had to. And that's the way that you lose. That's the way it has to happen today. All right, let's talk about it. It is Orange and Blue Postgame Live. I am Cecil Lammey, and that's not great, Bob. That's not a good way to finish that game. You're thinking they got him. You're thinking they get the first down. They're down to 1 second left, and it's time for the Broncos to celebrate a win in Kansas City for the first time since 2015. And again, you got to get it through the uprights, right? There's no assuming that you're going to get it until you get it. But you're feeling really good about what the Broncos did to fight to get to that point. You're feeling really good about the defense in, containing Pat Mahomes. And then that's what happens. I mean, what a gut punch. What a gut punch that was indeed. I mean, I hate the Chiefs. I straight hate the Chiefs with the fire of 1,000 suns. Respect Pat Mahomes, all that kind of stuff. But if there's a team that you'd love to beat, if the Broncos were 1-16, if that one was against Kansas City, I'd take it. And to lose that way, I'm beside myself. I'm perplexed. Of course, I'll go through the game and I'll tell you what happens. And, Audric Estime's breakout game and I guess taking over in this backfield, whatever. Like, so many things to get to here, but so damn disappointing. So incredibly disappointing to work that hard, to work like that, to have a really good game plan. Sean Payton with some wrinkles now that we hadn't seen leading up to this moment. More Marvin Mims. I didn't have that on my bingo card. And plenty of other things. The estimate thing we had kind of seen coming. Sean Payton said that on Monday. Like, would you think there's more Audric Estimate coming? His answer was yes. So it's like that didn't necessarily take us by surprise. But to lose this in that manner, it really stinks. I mean, it just stinks. You want to beat that team. You proved you could hang with them. The Broncos defense again came through. I mean, that's just absolutely crushing. Crushing. And I'm sitting here and I can't even believe it. I mean, anything can happen in the NFL, but I can't believe this. And to lose in that manner to that team that you had beat, that you had contained, that you had a good game plan against, it's just so devastating, so disappointing. And now you look at it and go, all right, Chiefs are 9-0 and you're 5-5. You have 500. And November was always going to be a tough month. And it's Arrowhead. It's a tough place to play. The crowd was certainly going nuts. And Bo Nix handled it so well. I guess I'll start there and I'll get off the end of that game for now. But that was just a terrible way to end a great performance, a strong performance, and one that you should have won. You should have walked away from Kansas City as the victors. and it just didn't happen. And it's, I mean, the plenty of silver linings in this, but I'm not exactly in silver lining mode yet. Check with me on a Tuesday, on Dover and Cecil, and on Orange and Blue today. I'll be in a better mood. But I got to process this, and I got to get through it. But first and foremost, Sean Payton, hell of a game plan. Great game plan to go at this team and to go after this Chiefs defense. It's really good. Chiefs defense is really good. Offense is finding their way. Travis Kelce got you a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins just a little bit. It was fun to see him jawing back and forth with Pat Surtain. But a game plan that involved Audric Estime taking over in the backfield. Now 14 of 53, 3.8 a carry. Also at the end, he's just trying to, plug it up in there in the middle. And they're totally stacking the line to stuff the run. Julio with a couple of carries, Javonte with one carry, and a couple of catches for Javonte. So you see a clear change that they wanted to do there. Mims with 4 catches. I mean, outstanding usage. Now, the production wasn't there, 4 for 13. But in the way that you were using him, in the way that you wanted to get that speed on the field, and Mims has been chomping at the bit for this. This is a guy that's been waiting for this, and to have a 4-catch game for the first time in his career. His 100-yard game against the Commanders last year was 2 catches. He's got a 3 for 73 game, 3 for 63 game, and so far this season, the most he's had is 2 for 18. So he had 4 catches. So you see the plan from Sean Payton, and the plan should have worked. And I'm not going to blame Will Lutz or whatever, and we'll get to the bottom of it and the blocked field goal. But I'm like, of all the teams to get that sort of luck, it's Kansas City. The hated Kansas City Chiefs. I was at Ameristar in Blackhawk with a public appearance, and the crowd was booing anytime they showed Taylor Swift. I was like, this is my kind of crowd. But it's like, I guess my hatred for the Chiefs is blinding me right now because the Broncos should have won. The Broncos should have won. They had it. Now they didn't seal it. They didn't finish it, but they had it. The game plan was there. Bo Nix last week against the Baltimore Ravens and against Lamar Jackson. He talked about it leading up into the week. Like, hey, that's Lamar Jackson out there. It's going to be fun to be on the opposite side of the field of him. I'm not saying that Bo was starstruck, but there certainly was some nerves, in my opinion, that you hadn't seen since the Seattle game. So I was a little bit nervous that I was nervous myself that this would be a game where it was like, okay, it's Bo Nix against Pat Mahomes for the very first time. For the very first time, we saw that matchup of Bo Nix and Pat Mahomes, and Bo was on point. Bo was not starstruck. Bo was not in over his head, right? And remember the games when Drew Lock would go back to Kansas City, and of course the announcers were like, he's from Kansas City 5 times a quarter. And, the stage was pretty big for Drew. Again, I like Drew, I like his family, but, that stage in Kansas City was pretty big for him. Was not the case for Bo. He looked very settled from the very beginning, and I love to see that from Bo. It's what you wanted to see, and in this fight, you had him. And in this fight, Bo won? ? You just didn't seal it at the end. I mean, Bo Nix showed that he could go toe-to-toe against a really good Kansas City defense. Kansas City's defense is at least top 10. Now, they don't rush the quarterback like Denver does, but they're a very solid Steve Spagnuolo. Like a very sound unit. They play balanced. Can't really run on them. Can't really throw on them. And the Broncos had a good game plan to expose that. More Devon Vele was a plan for the day. A dash of Adam Troutman on a big 34-yarder. A couple of catches for Lucas Kroll. The Troy Franklin thing they didn't force. I love to see that. They did force it to Sutton. I love to see that. And then as a team, didn't quite get to that 100-yard mark, but you did get over the 60-yard average. Kansas City only allows 60 yards on the ground per game. You got 78. And again, towards the end, with Audric Estime, you have to give a little grace on that box score because he's just plugging it up in there. They're just trying to basically keep the clock running. It's not like you would design If he breaks one, great, or breaks through, that's awesome. But that's at the end of the game, you could at least take a couple of those carries from Estime and say he had a healthier yards per carry until the very end. Whatever, get into the weeds here, but I guess it's what I do as I do this brain dump with y'all. And the chat room is fired up, and got about 1,700 people watching right now. This is just so damn disappointing. So disappointing because Sean had the game plan. Bo made the plays. Bo looked settled. He wasn't overthrowing guys. Now, did guys have drops? Yes. People will bring up the Sutton drop. I haven't checked the chat room yet, but I'm sure the chat room's already talking about the Cortland Sutton drop. Oh my God, Cortland Sutton drop. Like, yeah, okay. Not really going to lose my mind about that. But it's one of those things of, man, you got to have it. You got to have it against this team. And that's the other thing. I think that my buddy Kevin texted me, shout out Kevin. He said, well, that just sucked. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Totally sucked. Absolutely and tremendously just sucked. You didn't play perfectly and you had a chance to win at the end. Think about that. Because, the Sutton drop notwithstanding and some bogus penalties, of course, because the refs are on KC side. And I'm never one to blame the officials. Good teams overcome bad refs. Kansas City's always get the benefit with the refs, whatever. But like you had a chance to win. You should have won it. And you were right there. So, I mean, again, not in silver lining mode, but it's immediately obvious like you weren't outclassed. You were against Baltimore. You weren't against Kansas City. You weren't outclassed. You weren't outmanned. You weren't in over your head. This wasn't 41-10. I mean, what an effort. And again, this furthers my gut punch feel is the fight that you had coming back from 41-10. You're 41-10 last week, and it's Kansas City, and it's their place, and they're undefeated. I mean, you could have just let that snowball. But one thing that we've learned about this team, whether it's last year in the stupid Miami game, or it's this year in the stupid Baltimore game, like they didn't let it snowball. And Bo Nix, where seemed a little bit nervous against Baltimore, was not against Kansas City. And you love to see it. You love to see the poise from Bo Nix. This, again, it's a loss and it sucks and I hate it and I can't stand Kansas City. But this could be seen as arguably Bo Nix's best game. And they didn't win. And he only had 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, sacked a couple of times. Certainly was pressure. They had 5 quarterback hits. Seemed like 10. Seemed like a dozen quarterback hits out there. But Bo Nix was 22 of 30, man. And they, again, a couple of drops, whatever, but like he's playing really good football and didn't even run 3 carries -5 yards. So the running, it wasn't there. It wasn't 10 carries for 75 yards. You don't want him doing that. He can do it, and it's great that he can do it. But he's using RPO Bo, right? How many people out there wanted RPO Bo because he's so good at watching that crashing end and then pulling the ball and passing, or pulling the ball and running, or just handing it off. Like, he's so good. Yeah, I mean, most out there watching, and we'll get some haters in the chat room, and I hate that term, haters, but like, if you're watching Bo Nix, you don't realize this kid's the real deal. You're just sadly mistaken about everything. I'll call it. I don't even care. Like, if you can't watch the effort that this kid puts forth, and he's a rookie, you just don't know ball. And I know some people have gotten really upset with me about that. I don't even care. Like, you just have to watch with a clear head. I'm not even a Broncos fan. For people saying you're a Broncos homer and you love Bo Nix. No, I was the one at the first day of the Senior Bowl being like, wow, that guy doesn't look good. And then on Wednesday, he looked better. And then on Thursday, he was the best quarterback there. I wasn't one of the guys falling for Spencer Rattler in the 2nd round. Don't worry about it, guys. They can get Spencer Rattler. Bogus. Bull crap. Bo Nix is the real deal. And the fight that he had today, you love to see it. You love to see Bo Nix out there comfortable, slinging it, using all of his weapons, celebrating with his guys, celebrating with the defense. And as Jonathan Cooper has told me multiple times, like they just all love each other, man. And it's not just defensive love, it's offense, defense, special teams, everybody. This is a crushing blow. Atlanta's coming up next, and they're going to face their own challenges. You're going to have challenges with them, of course. So, I mean, I'll imagine they bounce back with another tremendous effort, but losing in this manner to that team, a divisional foe, a statement game for you. You couldn't hang with Baltimore, although you were for most of 2 quarters. You couldn't hang with Baltimore for a whole game. You hung with Kansas City for the entire game. You bested them. And then they get a block and you get an L. It was right there. So much joy was right there. Like we saw it. I seen it. We saw the joy that could have been within Broncos country's grasp. And a blocked field goal ends it. You lose 16-14. And the Chiefs continue their unbeaten streak. You know, congratulations? Question mark. But Bo Nix balling out. You love to see it and getting better and more comfortable each week. And you'll continue to see that. They are, and this started, I'll look up exactly which week it started because there was, and the game was 0. Like Cortland Sutton's a pro's pro. So if you go out there and he doesn't get anything, he doesn't really care. The New Orleans game, 0 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards. But it was, I believe, after the Raiders game. It might have even been the Steelers game. It was one of the 4 targets, 1 catch, 26 yards. I was like, feed him. I think it was the Steelers game. So week 2, my mind was like, Cortland Sutton's your number 1. I don't care if people don't think he's number 1. He's your number 1. He's your best receiver. He's your best receiving weapon. Tight ends, running backs included. He's your best receiving weapon. Use him. So then Tampa Bay is 11 targets. Nice game. Jets game, I don't really count. And again, the Saints game, he doesn't care about that. I mean, I care. Then he had 11 targets, 8 catches, 100 yards against Carolina, 10 targets, 7 catches, 122 yards against the Baltimore Ravens. And then 9 targets, 6 catches, 70 yards, 1 touchdown for Cortland Sutton in this game. So Sutton's going to show up. He's going to ball out. And if they design plays for him, good. They should have been doing that this entire time. Design the play for him. Make it easier for Bo. You know, let him feed one guy. Let his security blanket be Cortland Sutton. And it was again today. And I love seeing that. I want to see more. And I want to see the team continue on doing that with Cortland Sutton because he shows up. Now, little Jordan Humphrey didn't mess up this time. And a couple of catches for little Jordan. Okay. Still makes me nervous anytime he gets the ball. The Troy Franklin thing they didn't force, which was good. If it's there, take it. And on the one pass that didn't connect, you saw the idea that Bo had with Troy. It just didn't connect. So it was 2 targets, 1 catch, 9 yards. I'm fine with that. I just, and Bo talked about it last week. Like they're overthinking the connection. And I think people like want to see it. And it will happen. There is no doubt. There is no question. It will happen. I don't know how consistent it can be, but I guarantee you, Troy Franklin's going to have a 100-yard game real soon. I guarantee you that Troy Franklin and Bo Nix are going to have this mind meld connection like they had at Oregon. It's going to happen. Now, he's still just a number 2 at his very best. He's a number 2, which whatever, that's not really this conversation. But they're not going out of their way. And I believe they've made a mistake in the past of going out of their way to make sure they went to college together, guys. It's almost like the Drew Lock was from Kansas City conversation because they would go out of their way with, 6 targets and 4 targets and it wasn't working. The 6 targets was against the Saints, 5 for 50. So that worked enough, but still like the 4 target game against Baltimore, 1 for 19. Bo's out there overthrowing him. And if we don't overthrow him, we If Bo doesn't overthrow him, then Troy's just dropping passes. Today, you didn't see that. And I really enjoy that. It was more Marvin. Even though the Marvin thing didn't really work, he's hungry as all get out. And, could be pissed off as all get out. That's just a guess. But it's like, you want to feed that guy. He's real motivated to make plays. He's doing what he needs to do in practice. When someone gets fed like that, like Marvin Mims, you can say that he's doing what he needs to do in practice. When Marvin Mims is essentially featured in a way, and plays were designed for Marvin Mims. Again, they didn't work, but they showed you different wrinkles that you hadn't seen. So I enjoyed that in watching Mims out there, and he's got the speed where he can break one, just like Jaleel McLaughlin. Like, Jaleel hasn't done it, but if he breaks some tackle, he can house call it. Marvin Mims is a proven return man. He's a Pro Bowl return man. He can house call something, whether it's a handoff or a little short dump off pass, whatever. And I think that's just an added wrinkle you need in this offense. You need some speed. And it wasn't working with Troy. They didn't force it with Troy. And they tried Marvin out. I think Marvin or Troy, they could be essentially Sean Payton's Brandon Cooks. Although I've heard Cooks didn't like Sean Payton. Whatever. I mean, I'm sure Sean doesn't care. Nobody really should care. Go out and do what your coach does and wants you to do, and that's it. So, can Cortland Sutton stay next year and then Marvin Mims emerges as the Brandon Cooks? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That's a next year conversation. But you saw the plan from Sean Payton. It was going to work. You saw Bo Nix executing it, and it looked good. And then you saw Devon Vele and 4 targets, 4 catches, and a touchdown for Devon Vele. You absolutely love seeing that. He barely drops anything that isn't thrown his way. If you target Devon Vele, it's getting caught. Now, maybe not much is being done after the catch, which is just the way it is. As my grandma would say, that's just his way. Like, I'm not expecting Devon Vele to, rip off big yards after the catch. If he does, it's gravy. But I expect Devon Vele to catch everything that's thrown to him because that's just who he is. That's what he does. He's just not much after the catch, which is fine. You want to keep the chains moving? You want to score touchdowns? Well, that's where Devon Vele can come through for you, and he did that. It just didn't lead to a victory. So 4 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown for Devon Vele. Love seeing that. More from the tight ends, a little bit more. The Troutman play, there's more with Troutman there. Only 1 target, but it was 1 catch, 34 yards. Kroll, there's more with Kroll there. 2 catches, 21 yards on 2 targets. So there's more there. And if you had taken the Little Jordan targets and made those tight end targets, would things have looked different? Yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. Is Little Jordan Humphrey essentially playing a joker tight end, even though jokers are running backs and tight ends and not wide receivers? Okay, yeah. But would I like to see more Adam Troutman? Yeah. Would I like to see more Lucas Kroll? You all know the answer to that. So, to fight like this and to have a really good team. Again, I can tell you all day how much I hate Kansas City. We all know they're good. Scratch that. We all know they're great. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I hate Kansas City. Can't stand their fans. I respect Pat Mahomes. He is fun to watch. I just hate that he plays for Kansas City. I like Tech 9 less because of Kansas City. But it's like you went up against a great team and you had them. And you didn't win. That sucks. That straight up sucks. And there's no other way to put it. No other way to put it. Vance Joseph working on getting Pat Mahomes 4 sacks on the day, 9 times, 9 quarterback hits. I mean, they were just getting after it, and they were doing more man. One of the trouble spots I think they had against Baltimore is they went zone, and they dared Lamar to beat him as a passer. He can beat you as a passer now. Lamar wasn't always like that, but now he's like that. And, that's why you got against Baltimore, is because you wanted to slow down the tight ends. You did. You wanted to stop the run. You did not. And then you wanted Lamar to beat you as a passer and not a runner. He did beat you as a passer because he barely ran. Against Mahomes, you contain him. Again, not necessarily must rush. And you definitely contain Kareem Hunt. He had a carry of 10 yards. And Mahomes with the 12-yard carry had about 20 yards on the ground, 19 yards to be exact. So as a team, Carson Steele, couple carries, 3 yards. As a team, you held him to, 300 exactly? Is my math right? 300 offensive yards exactly. That's outstanding for that offense that's just getting it. And that offense full of stars and superstars. Travis Kelce, can't stand him. Sorry, apologies to his best friend, Derek Wolfe. But, I can't stand Travis Kelce. And it's not because who he dates. DeAndre Hopkins used to be a superstar. Now he's, star-ish, whatever. Noah Gray's a good young player. Poor Jared Wiley got an ACL injury. So, there you go. And Samaje Perine got you on a big play in the second half, big 35-yarder. Xavier Worthy has the one day to be a star in this league, but he only had a catch. But you took on Pat Mahomes. He's a flipping magician out there. And you took him on, you hit him 9 times, you sacked him 4 times, and you only had 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown from Pat Mahomes. That's simply outstanding. Outstanding. And it's a great defensive effort all across the board. Having PJ Locke back helped this defense tremendously. Did a couple of guys maybe could have got players on the ground. There was, the little Kareem Hunt play, right, where Justin Sternad didn't get him down as a receiver. I believe it was on the left side in the flat. So, okay, could I nitpick and say Justin Sternad missed a tackle? Sure, guys are going to miss tackles, though. Sternad, his rep is as a coverage guy, not as a tackler. So when you have that rep, if you could get those tackles, then you wouldn't have that rep. So I'm not necessarily going to nitpick the effort on an individual basis, because I think overall this was outstanding effort. Did Brandon Jones let a couple of plays happen? Sure, on a jerk route to Travis Kelce in the first quarter, and Brandon Jones totally bought on the in, and Kelce bumps out to the out. I mean, it's exactly what those guys do. But if you're not playing the in break, then they're just going to in break you all day. Now, to me, that's more towards where your help is, so whatever. But, Brandon Jones making plays, Cody Barton making plays, PJ Locke, welcome back. Riley Moss had a real tough catch. Hopkins got one on him. But what we know with Moss is he doesn't care when a player, he has outstanding coverage, and it takes an incredible throw and an incredible catch most of the time to get one by Riley Moss. That's just who he is now. And you love to see it. So when DeAndre Hopkins got that catch and the coverage was great, it's okay, Moss doesn't let that stick with him. So that's outstanding. My man, Coop. So happy for Jonathan Cooper. So tremendously happy. Big game for him with that sack, and then basically harassing Pat Mahomes all day long. And just happy with the story of Jonathan Cooper. The heart issues, falling to the 7th round. Saw him at the Senior Bowl. And I went on denverbroncos.com with Sydney when she worked for the team from Mobile. And I said, you got to draft this Jonathan Cooper guy. That was in January. So, and again, I'm going to tell you about my hits. I'm going to tell you about my misses. I'm never going to stay away from my misses for anyone that brings that up. As a player evaluator, you're going to have misses. I'm just super happy that Jonathan Cooper was a hit for him. Doesn't have anything to do with me. I just love the fact that he was able to fight through a scary condition where you just don't know, can I even play? Is it dangerous for me to play? Am I putting my life in my hands when I play? And then not only just to make it in the NFL, 7th-round picks don't turn out like Jonathan Cooper. Not just to make it in the NFL, but then to thrive and become a star and become one of your best defenders. It's why when someone nationally says like the anonymous crush, I get a little pissed off because it's not anonymous if you're paying attention. You know Jonathan Cooper. You know Riley Moss. Of course, Pat Surtain, because that's what people nationally will say. Like, anyone other than Pat Surtain, you just don't know these guys. We'll get to know them because they're really damn good. Nick Bonito, the torpedo. I'm going to steal that one from Dave Logan. Like, the way he's flourished as a young player has been outstanding. Coverage still isn't his deal, but I'm not paying Nick Bonito to cover. If he happens to be, that's his assignment for a play and he gets God, it's like, well, yeah, he's not a coverage guy. He's a rusher. Let him go rush. Let him get out there and make those plays. So Jonathan Cooper, great game. Pat Surtain, great game. Zach Allen, great game. Nick Bonito, great game. John Franklin Myers, great game. Jaquan, let a couple go, whatever. Again, Tremont Smith, great game on special teams. Dondrea Tillman had an error in this game, a mistake in this game. So, like, the defensive effort was there. You went up against Pat Mahomes, and they have weapons like Xavier Worthy, like DeAndre Hopkins, like Travis Kelce, and you held them to an offense at 300 yards. It's a hell of a day. That is a great day. And to lose in this fashion again, it was right there, man. It was right there. And it slips away from this Denver Broncos team. Love the effort from most everyone. Love the defensive game plan. Love the offensive game plan. The game plan against Baltimore didn't work. The offensive game plan against Baltimore was good, but Bo was bad. The offensive game plan against the Saints was good, but Bo was a little rough. The offensive game plan against Carolina was good, and Bo was good. So we're seeing a trend. You're seeing a few things. Again, if you pay attention, don't just hate Bo Nix. If you haven't guessed, the people that don't like Bo Nix, I don't care for that. I won't say I don't care for them. I honestly don't care what they think about Bo Nix, but it's like, it's right in front of you. The kid can play. The kid can play. This isn't any sort of Drew Lock situation. And as someone who raised my hand was excited about Drew Lock when they were 4-1 with him, you know, we saw enough starts from Drew that over time you could just be like, he's not the guy. I still need to see stubbornly 12 games from Bo because that's the number I wanted when there was a conversation of like, does Jarrett Stidham start week 1? I just said, yeah, give me 12 games from Bo this year. We'll know in 12 games. We're almost there. You pretty much know. And to see that effort from that young man and to see it not pay off for the victory, it stings. It sucks for them. Sucks for y'all in Broncos country. But it sucks for those players in that locker room who worked hard all week. Now, as Adam Troutman told me after the Ravens game, you can't lose twice. This loss sucks. But you can't let it stick with you. Give it a day, and on Tuesday, you're done. You're back at it. You've got Atlanta. So it's going to sting. It's going to give you a little more fire, though. Not that you need more fire, but you know, is this going to be a great rivalry? Is this matchup between Pat Mahomes and Bo Nix going to be a fantastic rivalry? If you go on passer rating, Bo Nix beat him. Touchdowns, Bo Nix beat him. Mahomes got him in yards. Average per attempt, Bo Nix got him. You know, Mahomes had more rushing yards, whatever. But for a first game effort in this matchup, and again, the Broncos defense does a lot, but your Broncos offense with a 14-point second quarter does enough to get and help out your defense. And then Kansas City could only muster. You got really strong in the red zone. One of my 3 observations I'm going to write about tonight, denversports.com. Check it out. I'll be writing Mile High Monday, my featured column. It's a blog every week, denversports.com. But one of my 3 observations is easily like they definitely got tough in the red zone. I mean, he did that against Pat Mahomes. Again, the dude's a wizard. Like sleeve of wizard. He's a wizard. And to lose in this manner is just disgusting. Absolute disgusting. So they hung with the Chiefs, but they couldn't beat the Chiefs. What do you do now, Broncos country? What do you do now? I'll jump in the chat room here before. What would you say you do here? I'll jump in the chat room here. So chime in with your comments. Not that I don't know how to feel about this one. It's just, I know how to feel about this one, and it sucks. I like here, this one. Oops. Enoch. Slee Stack. Oh, the Slee Stack scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Anyway, we getting better. Yes. Getting better. And that's obvious, you know. There's connection, like I said, with the game plans from Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Not that I expected it to be right on the money from week one, but you saw Sean trying to figure out Bo and Bo trying to figure out Sean. You're never going to figure out Sean, Bo. So is that something that we've seen come together? Yeah, we saw it come together, ironically, with the Saints game. But you're seeing it every week. Sean's calling a hell of a game plan for Bo, and then for Bo for the opponent. So there's like layers. There's levels to Sean Payton's concepts offensively. Usually try to clear you out and then do something underneath, or do something underneath and then go over the top. Like there's levels to what Sean Payton does with his sail concepts. There's also levels to with his game plan. His game plan has to fit Bo, but then it has to fit the opponent. It's like customization every single week, and it's fun to watch. This week it was using more Marvin Mims, more Devon Vele, less little Jordan Humphrey. So you're seeing them getting better together. Slee Stack, if there was one thing I would do is I would change your avatar because those things are creepy. 2, I would correct your grammar. We are getting better. And then 3, I would adjust it and say, we are getting better together. They're getting better together. Rickus Rick, he's always chiming in, says Broncos are in the playoffs. I mean, I hope so. I hope so. So we'll see how that that situation turns out as it continues to go on. I know that what Alex here in the chat room disagreeing with about Sean Payton's play calling. I believe it's about Sean Payton's play calling. Sorry, Alex, I'm just getting caught up. Michael, he's a real one in the chat room. He says, I believe that this team will make the playoffs this season. I believe that this team can not only make the playoffs, but put up a good fight in the first round. Because if you look at the potential teams they could be playing, including a rematch with the Steelers, including, you know, Bills, no. Well, maybe you face them because I think there was a scenario last week that they would face the Bills. The Bills would have their complications as well. I'm not saying quite like Baltimore. Baltimore's the best team in the conference. And Kansas City, you're not going to face them if they remain undefeated. They'll be on their way with the first round bye. That only goes to one team now. So if you look at the potential teams they could face, right? Let's say it's Houston or Indianapolis. You're going to face Indianapolis here in a few weeks. You feel good about them. I don't think it'd be Indy. Anyway, you feel good outside of Baltimore about them playing anybody that they would be matched up with in the postseason. Because for me, Michael, and I've said this before, I've said it on Orange Blue today, I've said it on Dover and Cecil. I say a lot, but it's not just about making the postseason. That'll be good. Be good to get the old Steve Young like monkey off your back. Like, okay, that'd be good to get the playoff drought off your back. But for me, the standard is championships. They're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. But it's the standard of they made the playoffs. Yay. No, how How about you're a tough out? Dare I say win a playoff game, but how about you're a tough out? And again, there are levels and everything. So if they go out there and they make the playoffs this year and then next year they make the playoffs and win a game but lose in the divisional round, or hell, maybe they win 2 and they lose in the conference championship. So like this year make the playoffs, next year make the playoffs and win a game, 3 years make the playoffs, win 2 games, go to the Super Bowl. If that's your track, then so be it. Seems like a pretty good track. But how about this year you get a little greedy? You're ahead of schedule. Bo's ahead of schedule. All the morons who were saying like Bo Nix can't play before the season or after week 2 or whatever, that's done. If you're paying attention, it should be. So like Bo's ahead of schedule, and that's why I've said I'm on Bo time. I'm not on. We all have this like, well, they're at the trade deadline, right? And both of my co-hosts said, you know, hey, they're on track and they're on plan. And my counter argument to that is like, well, that's your plan. Their plan should be adjusted to what Bo is doing. Bo's ahead of schedule. So make the playoffs, Michael. You're right. Win a game. And if you don't win a game, beat the hell out of whoever you play. Beat them up. Be a tough out. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see that for sure. I would like to see them make the postseason, but then not just be an easy W in the postseason. Not to say that they would be, but that's something we need to see. We need to see for sure. Chiefs plus NFL equals lovers forever. Yeah. Yep. Had the hated Chiefs beat, Tom. Man alive. And Sharon, she says Chiefs should feel very lucky. They should. They won't. They'll just talk about how great they are. Aren't we the greatest, everybody? You'll see some stupid commercial again. Not that I'm mad at State Farm, but really? Fumblerooski. Like, really? We have to have Andy Reid like that? Anyway. I'm getting a lot of the it's rigged game stuff. Yeah, I think people's radar are a little bit more up on that. Mass Collector says Broncos are a trap game in the playoffs if they make it there for whoever faces them. Good. Good. Mike says the O-line let us down in the second half. Not when they needed the plays. Like Cortland Sutton moving the chains on the third down to get into better field goal range, Mike. And Quinn Miners basically took it to Chris Jones. It's a Hall of Famer. So you love seeing that. You love seeing that play and court to get a better field goal position for your team. So, you know, I'll go back. I'll do the Sean Payton. I'll go back and watch the film and see what that says. But it was offensive line when they needed to. They were pushing on Estime. They got it done. Terry says, but Chiefs pulling games out of their backside. That's right. Yeah, Michael. Hate him too. Hate him too. Roport says Bill's smoking the Broncos. Yeah, maybe. Vicky, yeah, this is one of those unbelievable games. That's for sure. Unbelievable games. Because it's just like, that's how it went down. Let's see. Markey, sequence before half, completely screwed the Broncos again. We're definitely going to look at that. Tyler with one about the illegal contact on Brandon Jones. I don't believe it was. Now, Brandon Jones was flat-footed when Travis Kelce essentially runs into him. So is there contact? Yes, but it was so minute that it should not have been an illegal contact whatsoever. Now, had Brandon at that time been moving with where Kelsey's going to go, then they wouldn't have called it even with contact because he would have been kind of moving with him. So I would say this, Tyler. I think that was a bogus call, but it was smart on Kelsey to just run right into him because they're going to get that call because they're Kansas City and they get the calls. So was it a legit call? No. But it was smart on Kelsey to run into him. As much as it pains me to say that. Casey got a gift today. Mike says that. There you go. Timothy, absolutely perfect final drive until the kick. Yep. Perfect final drive until right then. And there you go. Holy Diver getting the 6-pack. No! Be careful, Holy Diver. Chandler says something. Got a bit too cute many times in the run game. Boys got great push when we run downhill. Shocker. Yeah, because they're a run blocking unit. Still want to see Estime hit the hole a little bit harder, but he had a good game. So I'm not going to bitch about it too much. But it's there, and it's there with Estime. I think that's what you do going forward, and you trust Javonte on some third downs and maybe a couple of catches. So, Facebook user, agree, Cecil, not a penalty. Still need a tight end, Cecil Lammey. Yep. Oh, God. Really, Mark? I'm glad that I didn't hear that. Fox Sports talking about how masterful the Chiefs were at the blocked kick. Of course they are. Surprised Chris Collinsworth didn't slide in. Like, here's a guy that can block the kicks because I love Mahomes. Yeah. That's for sure. Chris saying Fire 54. He got flattened. Yep. Should we still trust Sean Payton? Yeah, of course. Heartbreaking, but Broncos are building something. That's probably the best way to use it. I don't know why some of these Facebook messages are coming up just Facebook user. Here's another Facebook user. Beat Atlanta, beat Vegas. Chargers are beatable. This hurt, but this group is dangerous. They're dangerous. Yep. Terry says Bo looking like the steal of the draft. Well, he's up there, and I have NFL people telling me the Broncos may have the best one of the rookie quarterbacks. So, a lot of football left to be played, but you really enjoy what you're seeing from Bo Nix. I think that's the best way to say it. Like, a lot of football left to play, but he's looking really good and way ahead of schedule. He could be much, much rougher, and I would still be preaching patience. He's looked good, and I'm preaching patience. But if he was really rough, maybe Bryce Young rough, you'd be like, okay, kid, time to start making some plays. Trevor Lawrence as a rookie didn't flash until his final game. So, and Trevor Lawrence just got well paid. So with Bo Nix, like, he's ahead of schedule and he's looking real good. And there's a lot of football left, but you have to like and love what you've seen from him so far. Go get your Bo Nix jersey, man. I got mine the first day of Broncos rookie minicamp. I watched him practice once. I went to the team store and I bought a jersey. I believe. Mass Collector says Knicks look better today over Daniels for sure. I'll go back and see what Jaden did. I'm focused on the Broncos now, and Jaden was my number one quarterback. He's the Broncos' number one quarterback. So, like, I love his game. Just want him to stay healthy. But either way, like, Bo's looking good, man. Bo's looking good. There's nothing about that. Garrett saying we take the Chiefs in January for sure. That might be a Carson Wentz game. My fear is that Kansas City will be undefeated or close to undefeated, and they'll have the first round bye wrapped up. And then in that game, in the season finale, handy dandy schedule that Andrew Mason and I went through, in week 18 versus Kansas City at home, I mean, that just could be Mahomes is resting. So this was the time to get them, because in week 18, they may not be playing for anything. And that's going to suck. Hey, we beat Carson Wentz, everybody. Yeah, okay. Let's raise an offering. Yeah, if Mahomes doesn't play in that one, or he plays like a half Eddie or whatever, like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You get him next time, but it has to be full strength next time. Gabe says Estime and Bo are a great foundation. I'm not going to put Estime in there yet. You know, it's not like he had 100 yards, not like he had over 4 yards carry, whatever. Again, good game. I like him. I like talking to him. He's a good young man. He works hard. He's smart. Talked to Adam Troutman about him. But, foundation, are running backs ever foundations? Probably not. You know what I mean? So victory lap, Bo, progressing well. There you go. Estime was solid. I think victory lap, that's a great way to put it. Estime was solid, held on to the ball. But foundation, I wouldn't say that. Could be. But really, this offense is about Bo and the offensive line and maybe Sutton if they keep him. Those are your pieces to build around. We'll see what you get from him, see what you get from Franklin. Draft the tight end. It's a good tight end class. So we'll see about that. So there you go. Yeah, I totally agree with Gabe here. Peyton haters are weird. He's not perfect, but he's a great coach. Yeah, I mean, no coach is perfect. But with Sean, you're going to get someone who's obsessive about winning. As someone who's been on the opposite side of Sean and felt his ire, one, it's fun. Two, like, I don't mind being a little ornery. Now, it's not great, Bob, to be on the opposite side of Sean Payton rolling his eyes at you. I'll play the GIF that Mace, of course, had to put in here. I've asked Sean Payton a question. I've had him do that exact look. But I'll tell you this. The one thing you get from Sean Payton is wild press conferences because you have no idea what kind of mood he's going to be in for whatever reason. But you get someone who's obsessed with winning. And at the end of the day, hey, that coach over there, he's kind of a jerk sometimes, but he's obsessed with winning. I will take that 10 times out of 10. Yes, please. Right away, sir. I don't mind that. Roll your eyes all damn day. I don't care. He's obsessed with winning. And the cool thing is, with Bo is obsessed with winning as well. Jacob says, can we roast Forsyth for the last play? It's not great, Bob. It's not great. And I'm sure he feels like crap right now. So, do we need to roast him? Do we need to pile on him? Can we roast Forsyth for the last play? It's not Kill Tony. We don't need to hire that guy, whatever his name is. Tony something. Hincliffe, I think. Anyway, Christopher saying, people we need to rebuild have lost their minds. Secondary's better. O-line, I still don't think the O-line was garbage. Especially late. I mean, you had to move the chains. You had to get into field goal range, and they were able to do that. And plus, that's Chris Jones, man. And listen, as the guy who gets grief still to this day about Paxton Lynch, my mock for the Broncos, the first round pick was Chris Jones. My second round pick was Dak Prescott. Now, say what you want about Dak. And yes, I had a first round grade on Dak, but I had a first round grade on Paxton and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. Wentz was my number one. Goff was my number two. Paxton and Dak had the same grade. So 3-4, 4-3, whatever. Chris Jones, Dak Prescott. Would have been pretty nice. Chris Jones is a Hall of Famer. And on that play where Bo steps up in the pocket, Quinn Miners owns him. It was like Cartman getting that guy in World of Warcraft. You're about to be pwned. Like, that's what it was. So and again, I got to watch the film. I'm going to watch the film. You know what I mean? Like, I will watch the film. And it's not that I will let you know what the offensive line did. I'll just have a better read on it. You know, I did not get that from watching the first half up in Blackhawk. I listened to most of the game driving back to Roxborough from Blackhawk. I watched the end of the game. I did not get that feel that the O-line was garbage. But again, I might rewatch it because I'll watch the coach's tape 2-3 times. Maybe I'll be like, yeah, O-line was trash, except for a couple plays. But that play specifically to Sutton, got to have it, third down. Quinn Miners owned a Hall of Famer. So Daniel saying SP and VJ did a great job. Not a perfect game, but well done. And we'll only see it otherwise due to the last play. Yep. And I think that's a great way, Daniel, to kind of wrap up today's program. Yeah, losing sucks, but they did show up. That's right. And Mile High Beauty says at least we got to see how Bo fared against Mahomes and the Chiefs, and it was pretty good. It was. That's a positive sign. There's a lot of positive signs. I'm not in Silver Linings playbook yet, although I may be taking dance lessons on Friday. I'm not. That's a deep pull. I'm not there yet. On Tuesday, I will. I still got to complain about losing to the Chiefs because I hate them. I hate them. Hate their fans. I don't hate barbecue though. Although Texas barbecue is better than Kansas City barbecue. Don't at me, bro. I like what Mike says. KC knew they got beat today. They did. They know. They're sitting in that locker room. They know. We lucked out. It takes that in this game sometimes. But they got beat. Just not in the score. So, there you go. Daniel says Carolina barbecue. I was watching Barbecue Pitmasters because it happens to be on the Travel Channel, which is weird. And I love watching Bahamas Life or Beach Life because when I retire, I will be on a beach in Mexico, everybody. Want to come find me like Andy Dufresne? I will be on a beach somewhere. Anyway, but they said Carolina, Texas, Kansas City. I was like, I haven't had Carolina barbecue. So Daniel, I am partial to Texas barbecue, Franklin's and Austin. But Carolina barbecue, might have to venture out that way. Maybe with Andrew Mason as a tour guide, right? Oh, Timothy says for the win. Memphis is pretty good too. Had barbecue in Memphis, is pretty good. Thank you all. Now, business talk. Before I lose y'all, we need to grow our YouTube channel to a certain number by the end of the year. We need more subscribers as we're building our YouTube channel. So y'all love the show. Let's go Broncos. You love Orange and Blue Today. You love Coffee Break. You love Denver Sports Daily. Dover on Denver Sports starts tomorrow. You love the radio shows, including Dover and Cecil, that get put on YouTube by me. You love our channel. 48% of you that are watching right now are not subscribed. So please, if you love Bo Nix, you will subscribe. See how I got you? You don't love Bo. If you don't subscribe to Denver Sports, you just don't love Bo Nix. I don't know, what your deal is. Whatever. I mean, I love Bo Nix. He's the guy, right? He's the man. So if you love Bo Nix and you want to help me out and help out our channel, please subscribe. It means a lot. You've commented in the chat room. Make sure to comment below on this video. Okay, that also helps YouTube. It gets YouTube to say, hey, people are commenting on this video. People must like it. Bing! And puts it in more recommended. I won't bore you with algorithm talk, but we are kind of tied to what the YouTube algorithm is, as mysterious as it is. So one thing I know is if you like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid, that helps out all the time. So thank you. Thank you. SM says, I subbed, but I love Cecil. There you go. Love Bo Nix too. Carrie says, stay frosty, bro. You stay frosty, sis. I got to call you sometime. So anyway, now everyone's flirting with Carrie in the chat room. Thanks. Thanks for that. I have to see random people on the internet flirt with my sister in the chat room for my show. our show, your show. Anyway, peace. I'm going to throw up some Mike Patton as I do every single week because he is a genius. Wolf Mother, you suck. And by Wolf Mother, I mean the Kansas City Chiefs. Stay frosty, everybody.